I will say something new. I work with a team of surgeons periodically to help them to test and design their medical studies. So I run their statistics for them and help them organize it, and they focus on transgendered surgery. So that's something fun that I get to do in my spare time.
Yay, that does sound very interesting. Good way to use your knowledge. Armagan. Could you say again?
Armagan.
Armagan. Nice.
Yeah. So hello everyone. I'm joining Women's and Gender Studies program as a lecturer, and previously I graduated from my PhD in architecture history and my second degree in women's and gender studies from University of Cincinnati, and I was visiting assistant professor there for 2 years, and I'm really excited about this new chapter.
We're excited to have you here. Lydia?
Hi everyone, I'm Lydia Caldwell. I am a new assistant professor in the Department of Kinesiology, Health Promotion, and Recreation. I just finished my PhD last year at Ohio State. I had previously worked as a physiology researcher with Air Force Research Labs, so focused on human performance and recovery research.
Wonderful. Welcome. Stuart?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good. Yes, so my name is Stu Gillen. I am originally from New Zealand. I did my doctorate at the University of Texas. I've held positions at the University of Hong Kong, the Securities and Exchange Commission, government agency in DC, TIA-CREF, where if you're in the ORP, your retirement money will be. University of Delaware, Arizona State, Texas Tech, and most recently, University of Georgia. So I can't hold a job. But I'll try to hold on to this.
That changes now.
I'm trying to hold on to this one. So yeah, I'm a full professor in the business school. I came in as the G. Brent Ryan Chair of Finance, and my research focuses on mainly publicly traded companies, executive compensation issues, corporate board structure, shareholder voting and ownership, those sorts of issues.
Welcome. We will have to catch up. I lived in New Zealand for a while.
Awesome.
Dr. Chen?
Hello, everybody. I'm Chen Juan Chen. I'm joining UNT as a new as an assistant professor at the College of Arts and College of Visual Arts and Design, and teaching in the fashion design program. So before joining UNT, I was assistant professor at Kent State University in Ohio for 5 years. I actually graduated from UNT in 2015, so to me it's kind of coming back home. So it's pretty excited that I don't have to shove snow anymore. And my research is in, generally it's in sustainability, so, but more specifically modular design, upcycle design, and transformable design. So if anyone is interested, feel free to reach out. I would love to collaborate. Thank you.
Thank you. Audrey?
Hi, everyone. I'm a new faculty assistant professor in the Department of History. I came via the UK, where I did my PhD, and then I had a postdoc and assistant professorship in Wales. And I look at early modern gender and sexuality.
Wonderful. I know that took a little bit of time, but one of the most important things about being a successful faculty member is getting to know the people around you. We all have lots of skills and interests, and sometimes they overlap in very interesting ways. My thought, because I bet you have been listening to people for the entire, just a guess. So I thought that the three of us that are here to provide some help might begin by saying what's like one of the most important pieces of advice that we might give you, and then answer your questions, because I'm sure that you have managed to come up with questions by this point in the day. So to begin, my biggest piece of advice is twofold. One is to make an outline of what it is that your department expects you to do. And then two, make a box that has sections for each of those and start filling them up. That was something that Penn State had us do, and it was referred to as the box. I am not particularly organized, so I never had a box. So I'm not a good example, but I do think that it just keeps you on track, helps you to visually see, I've accomplished something, and what needs to be done. So that's probably my piece of advice. Jinjin, I'm sure I've said your name wrong.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
No.
Thanks, Wendy. Right, so yeah, I would just say, I would give suggestions or advices from my side on the research side, and get to know the helps you can get from your department, college, and the university. And UNT is R1 research institution. There is a very active research in many levels, and more college and department we can provide such kind of support and to faculty and PIs. And for example, in College of Engineering, where I come from, unfortunately, I don't see anybody, new faculty in this group from College of Engineering, but I see the new associate dean for research, and so he is getting lots of resources together. And my advice to you is get to know those resources and make them available for you when you develop and grow the research program at UNT. And so I was really, really glad to see, I was in the bigger group, 105. Wow, UNT has a really big hiring this year. So that's really, really great to see the growth of the university. And I think we are really, really in the upgrowing trajectory. We're getting even, I think, better and better, especially with your addition.
And there are a lot of resources through faculty success, including grants and opportunities for mentorship. Every department will provide you with a mentor. So it's important to take advantage of those. Dr. Guzman?
Well, there's a lot of experience in this meeting room. There's a lot of people who have been through the cycle multiple times, so I don't know how much I can actually provide, but I will talk mostly to the assistant professors, which for you, this whole experience is new. This is kind of not a joke. Have fun. I'm totally serious. Have fun. If you're not having fun doing this, you chose the wrong career. This is the coolest job in the world. And we get paid to think, we get paid to write, we get paid to motivate people to become better people. And if that doesn't turn you on, excuse the expression, you're in the wrong business. So just find a way to do it and have fun. Don't take things so seriously. And honestly, as Wendy was saying, I don't use the box. I have my whiteboard. I do have a very strict, draw or write down my projects, and kind of have this to-do list, because we all know that we do research collaboratively, but we have to kind of be accountable to ourselves. So if you can find that balance between finding the box, finding your whiteboard, being accountable, and having fun at the same time, most likely when tenure times comes, etc., you're going to be fine. But the biggest blessing or the biggest fortune I had when I got here was that when I was hired, my chair lied to me. And he basically told me that what I needed to become tenured was something that was actually twice as much as what it was really needed. I didn't question my chair. I just thought, okay, well, I need 2 papers per year or whatever. Then one day I actually read the tenure guidelines, and even today's tenure guidelines that are much stricter now that we become an R1, et cetera. I read them and I said, wait a minute, this is not what I was told. And just, you heard this before, teach us if you wanted to stay, research if you wanted to leave, and if you have fun in the process, you're gonna be fine. Just do your job.
Yes, there is a lot of anxiety that goes into a tenure track position, particularly around tenure, and I have seen people become so overwhelmingly anxious that they aren't enjoying what they're doing. And I understand the anxiety, certainly, but planfulness can help, but enjoyment is very important. So who has a question that we could help with? Yes.
So the session for our group is called Being a Professor at UNT, I guess. So we were talking about tenure clock, and I think people are talking about a work and life balance, but I want to ask you guys about the teaching and research balance.
Teaching and research balance and service balance is actually pretty challenging. It's different across every department. In college, in regard to teaching is definitely someplace you should have fun, because you can be very planful about how you want to present information. And you know, in some of the classes I teach, I learn just as much as my students do. But one of the things that I would advise is how I always spend a lot of time at the beginning, you know, in terms of designing a class, because it helps with the balance, to try to figure out how I can create an assignment where the students have to do something that is substantive and applicable, practical for them to take away, and reasonable for me to grade. So, you know, we do all of our work in groups. So I very often, you can ask a group to do something that's more substantive than an individual. So you put them in a group and they can do this big substantial thing. You still only have, you have 4 people in a group, you have 1 thing to grade. You know, so that sort of thing can help with the balance, and then including some of your students in with the research that you do. That's my idea. Oh, you're muted.
I don't mute it and then I mute it again. I apologize.
Yes, I saw that.
I would like to add that indeed each college has a different parameter, and most of us might have, depending on our hiring, a different workload distribution. So if you're saying that you are the director of a center, I'm assuming that your teaching load is much lower than the regular 2-2, or it could be lower than the regular 2-2, while other people might be on a 3-3. So what I've discovered is, at least what works for me very well, is you know, summer is a great time to do research. And once you have your classes going, if you really want to teach well, you normally have to engage. So at the beginning, when I got to UNT, I was going to UNT every day and, you know, trying to create a reputation. And literally one day my chair came to say, not the higher one, the second one, came to say, you need to go home. You are here way too long. Different time in life, I didn't have kids, my wife had a full-time job. I was spending 45, 50 hours a week at UNT. It was pretty magical. The moment that I understood that staying at home one day to fully engage in research was really instrumental. And I know for many of you who have been doing this for a while, I'm preaching to the choir, but just try to find that balance and try to find those moments. For me, the summers are critical. And at the very beginning, I actually did some extra teaching in the summer. I learned very quickly, it is not worth it, at least for us. With our financial situation, we were able to not need it. And it was not worth it to have that extra load in the summer. And that 3-month window from mid-May to mid-August, to me, it's still the best time to be productive.
Dr. Du, is there something you can add?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think especially for the studying assistant professors, can be a little bit stressful to find the right balance among the research teaching and the service. And I agree with Wendy that to find initial and the requirements of the department and the college, and it's very important because it can be different from program, department. Even in the same department, it can change with time, and depending on the student enrollment, and from there, and then you can find your balance. And just like Francisco mentioned, you need to adjust and maybe test a few things to find what's the best for you. And I agree. And the summertime it used to be best time for us to collaborate, to research, to visit good places in the world. Not this year. So, so and it's always the best time. And usually, and I was able to spend time in Europe, Asia, South America, many places. And so you will find that's a really an addition, like a bonus to our profession. Yeah.
Other ideas or another question?
Could I make a couple of suggestions to the assistant professors?
You certainly may.
So a couple of things. I've also in the past been an assistant professor and sort of involved in the running of a center, and center activities can often expand to take up a lot of time that you don't anticipate. And so one thing that I would try to do is say Wednesday and Friday, block out an hour and a half each day and concentrate the center activities in that time. Otherwise it sort of tends to consume a lot of your other time. And then the other thing, more generally for assistants, teaching also, I think it's very important, and you have to put work into it. But again, it's sort of an instant gratification. You teach your class, you're done for the day, but keep in mind that research is also a fun and interesting part of the job, and always make sure you sort of keep on track and carve out a little bit of time on a regular basis, even when you have a heavy teaching load semester, to get some of your research ticking along. So when you get more time freed up to work on that, you're not sort of reinventing the wheel.
Okay. Other thoughts or another question? Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
I can keep asking if no one else taking advantage of the time. So it's still related to the tenure clock thing. I mean, we were talking about the balance between teaching, research, and service, and I think that's also advice I got from some friends about tenure. It's like publish, do good teaching, and don't be a jerk. That means be a good colleague, right? Do good service so you can get a tenure. Do you guys have any other advice, like how to, kick off the tenure clock? Like, maybe you can tell I'm already getting a little bit overwhelmed by the tenure clock. I'm joking.
You just said something really important. For getting tenure, really, at least in my department, and I'm talking to College of Business, I see there's 4 or 5 people from the College of Business here, well, most of you already tenured. It really boils down to your productivity. Service, you're going to be protected. At least that's what usually the College of Business does. And you have to be a decent teacher and you have to be a really good researcher. But it's a completely different ballgame when we're talking about full professorship. Because you're right, if you're a jerk, you're not going to make it. Unless you are a jerk, an extraordinarily productive jerk. But even if you're an extraordinarily productive jerk, you're going to have a hard time. So it really doesn't take much to be nice to people. And unfortunately, we've seen a lot of people that are not nice to each other. And in these times, they're like, come on, you gotta be kidding. So I think you bring a very, very valid point. And I've seen it happen. I've been part of a lot of tenure processes and recently full professional processes. And unfortunately, some people have not been successful because exactly what you said, because they haven't been good colleagues. I mentioned it before, it is important, at least at the beginning, you have to be here. I know now it's hard because no one is here, but you have to be present. Make yourself present, especially for full professorship. You have to be present. you can't hide and just live your life, because we're a family, we're a collegial group of people, and that will bite back to you in the wrong way, you know. So you're absolutely right.
I think one of the important things to recognize for everybody starting, whether you're here as a full professor, associate professor, or assistant professor, is that you don't have to know everything you need to know today, tomorrow, or when you start. This is a community that is strongly invested in your success and very interested in understanding and hearing what it is that you need, and pretty responsive. So you know, it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to just, you know, particularly today, not to know everything. You're not going to know everything. And even in the first semester, you won't know everything. And some of the things that you won't know are just the littlest things. My first semester here, when I went to turn in my grades, of course, everybody else was gone because, you know, I was new and I was trying to figure things out. But I got all my grades calculated and I had no idea what to do with them. There they sat in an Excel file on my computer. And I'm like, what is the next step? So you're going to have moments like that. And that's okay. You know, and that's what makes you part of the community, is, you know, reaching out. And it is a very caring community. I know that you'll hear that from a lot of people, and it's part of a slogan now, but but even before the slogan, it was really true. So
yeah.
But so much.
Yeah, I just want to add, right. I want to add to that, either it's assistant or associate professor, if you're familiar with tenure promotion documents of your department. And because each department can be different, like for those moving from other universities, and those criteria can be quite different. Like adding like, again, from the College of Engineering point of view, and there were funding requirements. What's the minimum external grants you need to bring in? And get familiar with those requirements, and so, you know, there's a target you can work against. And I would say being collegial is very important, because it's a community, it's a department is like a home, and it's somebody you will get along with for many years, like your brother or sister. You cannot get rid of them. So it's not, I think, more than not being a jerk, you should try to reach out and try to build some relationship, and studying early times. Don't wait till the last time. Oh, I realize I need to fix something. Maybe it's too late.
Yes, it is a process, and reaching out and being part of a group is important. Based on the clock in the corner of my screen, it suggests that our time is over, which suggests to me that you probably have someplace else that you all need to go. Is that correct?
I don't know. Usually they just pull us back after, it usually stays at 0 for a minute or two, and then they pull us back.
All right. Well, then we will take our stolen time. Yes.
I have a question about this. You know, I agree with Francisco that when you come to a new university, and especially if you're making that transition from doctoral student to faculty member, it's really important to be there and be present, and, you know, go down the hall and see each other. We can't do that. We have arrived, and I was in the business building and saw 0 people, which is what I wanted. I didn't actually want to run into anybody. I had a mask on, you know. So is the university doing anything virtually to try to do meetups or anything to take that place of that?
There's a website online that talks about some of the upcoming events that are for getting together. There's a Women's Faculty Network Research Forum on the 17th. There are other sorts of things. So if you just search those, you know, search for, what I did was search faculty success, and I went to the webpage for faculty success, which is what Associate Provost Combs runs. And there are lots of things. With one of our new faculty members, we just chat once a week, not about anything. I'm getting a puppy. That was our last conversation. I don't know if he wanted it to be our last conversation, but it was nonetheless. So there are things, and I agree. It's very difficult, I think, probably to start virtually, and it'll for many reasons. But there are networks and opportunities, and you'll be assigned a mentor. You know, I don't know if a full professor gets assigned a mentor, but nonetheless. So,
I probably need one though.
What's that?
I probably need one.
You probably do. Every place is different. You know, and you think every place is different. Very different. Other people's ideas, ways to get involved virtually. We have a site that's virtual cocktails. Why not? Any other ideas?
Is there like
a reception later today?
What's that?
A reception later today, is that correct?
You're certainly welcome to.
I heard maybe it was just the dean of the College of Education.
No, there is a reception, and I'm sure colleges and departments are doing things. But a good question to ask at your first faculty meeting, which will also be virtual. One more person.
Right. Yeah, we have had a few virtual happy hours, and I think that's good for people to, with a beer in your hand, and to chat and to greet everybody. So, yeah, I agree. Ask in the faculty meeting, there are always such kind of things coming up.
Yes, Maria?
Yes, during our breakout rooms with the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences class, we made a group with all the new faculty. So we're gonna start keeping in contact each other. We made a group of the email addresses to keep in contact with each other. And then once the COVID-19 is gone, we can probably get together for dinners or cocktails or whatever. So.
Yes, reaching out and organizing those sorts of groups is kind of cool. Have you all found places to live virtually? You know, to be virtual from? I don't know if that's a hard thing to do during this time. Oh, does everybody have this leave breakout room? Hi.
Yeah.
4 seconds. Thank you, guys.
Good to meet
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
I think we're all just about back. And we've come to the end of our day, and I want to thank you all very much for sticking it through. I have one last thing to share with you, and that is my screen. I'd like to, let's see here. Resize. Can you see the screen? You can? Okay. I don't know if you've had a chance to take a look at this. I know it's been a busy couple of weeks getting here and getting all the information you need just to be here today. But on the new faculty orientation page, the last box is the list of short courses that we've prepared. In past new faculty orientation, these individuals actually came to the Gateway Center, which is where we used to have the new faculty orientations. And instead of having the day like we had today, we would have these presentations like you see here on the screen. And we asked these individuals to put them on a video and just kind of give you the information that you